The journey across the world of the 2025 Kumho FIA TCR World Tour kicked off in Mexico City, where Esteban Gurrieri made a bold statement behind the wheel of his Honda Civic. In the first races on the European soil, we headed to Valencia. It was Jan Ehrlacher in the Lynk Co who took centre stage, delivering a commanding performance that silenced all of the 2025 doubters. Then came Monza, the legendary Temple of Speed, where Ehrlacher and the Cupra showed he had what it takes. In race 2, he blew past the competition with a commanding performance, sealing the win after starting from 8th position on the grid. Been a long time since I last raced in TCR World, so to win a race again by the third round is really great, especially since the team's completely new. It's a first time for the team and a first time for the new Cupra, so that first win came sooner than we expected and I'm really happy about it. I started in 8th because of the reverse grid. The key was really the start. I told myself that if I got a good start, the car had enough pace to make up positions, but I didn't expect to take first place. The best overtake for me was the one on Nestor. The only way to attack him was at the first chicane. I knew we had a really good exit there, so the goal was to pressure him into not entering the chicane as cleanly as possible, so I could cut back on the exit, and it worked. So for me, that was the best move of the race. For the fourth round of the season, the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour stopped in Portugal at the notoriously challenging street circuit of Vila Real. And, as expected, the crowd showed up in full force well before the race, already during the parade seen here in the city centre. It's always fantastic to come back to street circuits, to be in the crowd with people who are fans of motorsport. It creates a completely different atmosphere compared to traditional circuits. The key is qualifying, because, unfortunately, street circuits make for a lot of spectacle, but during the races, overtaking is very difficult, so it's complicated. It's very, very fast circuit. I think one of the most dangerous street circuits in the world, along with Macau. I have to change my driving style a bit for street circuits. Very technical style has to be somewhat forgotten, and it's more like rally driving, where you rely on instinct and a lot of improvisation. Vila Real isn't a circuit for the faint of heart, nor is it a venue where overtaking comes easily, making qualification for round 9 one of the most important of the season. Several drivers fought hard for top honours, SP Cupra driver Ehrlacher and coming close, as did BRC Hyundai star Mikel Azcona and the GOAT Racing Honda of Esteban Gurrieri. Lynk Co Cyan Racing, however, proved to be the class of the field, Jan Ehrlacher taking pole position by just under 0.2 of a second from teammate Santiago Urrutia behind. An assured performance from the Frenchman, locking out a Lynk Co front row.
Another pole. Thank you. Congratulations. Right here.
Race 1 then, 14 laps under sweltering conditions, would see Jan Ehrlacher start from pole position, with Santiago Urrutia, Esteban Gurrieri, Mikel Azcona, Ehrlacher and Norbert Michelis rounding out the top 6 starting positions. The calm before the storm. The green flag waves at the back of the grid. And in a few moments' time, the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour round number 9 from Vila Real is underway, and at the head of the pack, as you were for Jan Ehrlacher and Santiago Urrutia. They charge down into T1. It's advantage Ehrlacher from Urrutia. Just behind, we see Aurelien Comte having a little bit of a look at Esteban Gurrieri. Good start from the French driver already. He's found a way past Mikel Azcona and up in a 4th position. Ahead of the pack, though, Jan Ehrlacher. Perfect start from the French driver, just what he required. He leads from teammate Urrutia. No, but Miklis having a little bit of a look at the back of his teammate. More of a defence, I think, from Marchingois than attack of the cars ahead. But Miklis holds on to that position. It is the two BRC Hyundai and Squadra Corsa cars in 4th and 5th places respectively. Marchingois having a little bit of a nibble at the back of the 105. The Chinese driver, though, can't find an opportunity. While the tyres are cold, the cars are the heaviest. This is where opportunity knocks for the World Tour drivers. Catching's one thing, passing is an entirely different thing indeed, and the streets of Vila Real give away absolutely no gifts, especially to drivers at this level. Marchingois, though, painting himself to the back of Norby's machine. Miklis under pressure with those 40 kilos, remember, of compensation weight on board. He just wanted to survive these two races, says the Hungarian driver. Well, he's got a lot of work to do already. A gap starting to form between himself and his teammate Mikel Azcona ahead of him. Meanwhile, race control decided a drive-through penalty is going to be the order of the day for Nacho Montenegro, so the Argentinian's day gets even worse. Down there in 14th position, having started from pit lane. Nestor Girolami, very briefly saw there, good start for the Argentine, up in a 12th position. Having had that qualifying dramas, failing to get out there and set a lap. Girolami already on his tippy toes in these early stages, as Ehrlacher from Urrutia, then Gurrieri are your top 3 drivers on this opening lap. Jan starting now to come under a little bit of pressure from the Uruguayan driver Santiago Urrutia behind. They'll be playing the team game in the early stages. Dusan Borkovic, by the way, makes her way past Teixeira for 10th position. So Borkovic on a charge, the Serbian GOAT racing driver, up 1 after what was a very difficult qualification. GOAT racing squad, watch on. By the way, Bebu Girolami off camera has moved up into 11th position, so Teixeira is the next victim along the line for Girolami. The BRC Hyundai and Squadra Corsa driver up into 11th position now. So there you go, overtaking is possible at Vila Real. You just have to be enthusiastic and committed in your manoeuvres. There's Norby again, look. On the defensive line is Miklis from Marchingois behind. Not quite sure the strategy for that one. Doesn't feel like an overtaking opportunity into the second chicane, but Norby feels the need to do that lap after lap. That's going to compromise him slightly and bring the Chinese driver Marchingois into contention behind. Ma does seem a couple of car lengths further back than we've seen previously, so I don't think there's a threat of making the manoeuvre, but the only tactic in these conditions is just to keep applying the pressure and hope that the car in which you're chasing makes a small mistake. No, but Miklis, the last time he made a small mistake, well, that'd probably be about 30 years ago. Norby very rarely makes errors, does the Hungarian driver. Very cool and collected driver is Norman Miklis, and I'm sure the 40-year-old will be more than capable of holding off the challenges of Marchingois behind. 3 laps of 14 in the books. To a race around here at Vila Real, it can very easily go wrong, even through no mistakes of your own. You've got to see the checkered flag to score the points. Dusan Borkovic is no big fan of taking it easy. He's usually a man that makes the move first and then worries about if it was a good idea afterwards. And that's why we do very much love Dusan Borkovic in a TCR touring car. His teammate Marco Butti is currently the one who's trying to find a way past Butti. Guest driver here in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Borkovic in for the season. So Marco having his last dance, for now at least, on the World Tour stage and doing a solid job up there in 9th place. Great to have Marco back in the World Tour field. He's gone back to TCR Europe full time and doing very, very well indeed in 2025. But it's lovely to see him on the world stage, as there is the GOAT Racing Honda Civic FL5 Type R TCR and another disappointed Italian driver in the shape of Marco Butti. Not quite what he was hoping for this weekend, not quite what he's been hoping for the entirety of his World Tour return, but it will not be the last we see of Marco Butti. I am absolutely certain. Very talented driver, very nice young man as well. Old head and young shoulders, only 20 years of age, already a winner in TCR Europe. I'm sure we'll see a lot more of him on the world stage as there's a Cristiano Ronaldo shirt being waved. Just what he's ordered. 30 points in the book. No, but Michaelis having to go defensive again. This time, though, that's a valid defensive move because Ma Qinghua is very enthusiastic. He's trying to design a brand new TCR car live in a race by merging a Hyundai and a Lynk Co almost into one. That's how close the Chinese driver is to the rear bumper of Norbert Michaelis, having a little bit of luck for some fresh air, failing the mirrors of car number 105. Michaelis, though, has the line covered, has it under control as Dusan Borkovic, a very sad looking Go Racing Honda, and that is unfortunately looks like contact with the wall to me. The end result is the same though, Borkovic in pit lane. Michaelis is through, so Azcona in some kind of drama. Mikel Azcona from 5th position has found the unlucky streak continuing. He's running slowly. Michaelis is up in a 5th now. And there is Mikel Azcona. We saw him going slowly. Can we see the reason for the slow driving? Doesn't look apparent. All 4 boots on that car seem to be round and fully inflated. So whatever happened to Mikel Azcona, this is the replay, that's the sideways action. Oh, we're going to catch the barriers, Mikel. That is beautiful, and look at the rear left. That is some kind of delamination, so whether that's self-inflicted or not, I could not tell you, but the end result's the same. Mikel Azcona with 3 wheels on the wagon. He's had 12 laps, he's not had a sniff of an opportunity just yet. Only 2 more than Norbert Michaelis needs to do to see it through to the checkered flag and secure what will probably be the hardest 5th place finish the Hungarian driver has had in his career. Very rarely do you see a race with so few mistakes, and for Norbe there has been none, as there is contact for Mikel Azcona. We've seen that one before, light contact from Mikel on that barrier. Was that cause, reason or unrelated to the reason he came in pit lane? We don't know the answer to that one. But the end result's the same. Mikel still circulating, back out on track. On his birthday weekend, Jan Ehrlacher never looked like this performance would be in any kind of doubt whatsoever. Millimetre precise and a race victory at round 9 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour goes the way of Jan Ehrlacher from teammate Santiago Urrutia and Esteban Gurrieri. Confirmation then of the race 1 results, and it's Jan Ehrlacher by a full 1 second from teammate Santiago Urrutia, with Esteban Gurrieri rounding out the podium places. Aurelien Comte is 4th from Norbert Michaelis, Ma Qinghua, Ted Bjork, Bebu Girolami, Nacho Montenegro and Daniel Teixeira, rounding out the top 10 finishers. But of course, it would be all eyes on that man, Jan Ehrlacher, taking his 3rd race victory of the 2025 season and kicking off a championship charge that's looking very difficult indeed for the rest of the field to halt.
We need to be there at the end of the season. That's the main goal. But for sure, now we focus on what we have to do at the moment, which was to win this race and do a good second race as well. We can tune a bit the setup to improve the car and the longevity. But very, very proud of the work from the whole team. In Vila Real, I've been quite a lot of time on the podium and never win. And as I said yesterday, I missed my first mechanic that is not here this weekend because his wife is pregnant and going to give birth. And Robert, our tire guy in 19, again, this one plus Paul, both of them are for him because I still think of him quite often. So, no, really happy, proud from the work from everyone. It's very hot here and they all give their best. So it's been 3 weeks, very intense. Another win, another double P1-2 for Cyan. So just mega happy.
Victory for Jan Ehrlacher and the 30 points that brings, with Santiago Urrutia and Esteban Gurrieri rounding out the opening race of the weekend podium celebrations. A strong start for Lynk Co Cyan Racing, looking to get even better, with 2 cars starting at the head of the pack. for race number 2. Race 2, 14 more laps and a reverse grid top 10 await the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour field in Vila Real. Can Nacho Montenegro convert pole position into a first race victory? Will Lynk Co Cyan Racing make it 2 from 2 in Portugal? It's time to find out. Final cars at the back of the pack. Line up in position. Nacho Montenegro is on pole from Marching Hua. The green flag waves. The lights go on. The lights go off. And the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Round number 10 at Vila Real is underway at the head of the pack. Nacho Montenegro gets bogged down on the second phase of acceleration. That opens the door for an armada of Lynk Co Cyan Racing machines to come through. It is Marching Hua leading the point. Ted Bjork up in a second position. Montenegro down a third, not the start that the young Argentinian driver would have been looking for. Montenegro, there you see the 1-2-3 Aurelian Koch for company as well. Noble Miklis and Mikkel Azcona as one for the BRC Hyundai Ed Squadra Corsa team, just behind Esteban Guerrieri, having a look, having a sniff, can't find the opportunity as yet. Guerrieri though will be keen to move forward. Bjork then crosses through your screen in second position. Azcona has a look to the inside of Aurelian Koch, no opportunity on this occasion. He'll try again later on as Guerrieri up in a 7th position. Ehrlacher moves up into 9th place, just behind teammate Santiago Urrutia. So that's been a solid start for the Frenchman. The first phase of jeopardy has been overcome. The second phase is in the form of Marco Butti with Dusan Borkovic for company as well. Not the first time that we've seen those two cars nose to tail, and Butti gets a good run on our championship leader. Have a look at the top of your screen. There is the blue and yellow Cyan Racing Lynk Co of Jan Ehrlacher. Just behind, young Italian charger Marco Butti tries to find a way past. It's Vila Real, ways past, a few and far between. Ehrlacher survives the onslaught for now, but is looking under big pressure. Is our championship leader as Marching Hua and Ted Bjork, and then through goes the rest of the field at the front of the pack. It's been a good start for Lynk Co Cyan Racing. 2 cars at the head. The other 2 cars very firmly in the points, but look at Butti, look at Marco Butti, has a look to the inside, almost makes contact with the rear corner of Jan Ehrlacher's machine. Marco had a little bit of enthusiasm between the last race and this one, and it's paying off in dividends at this moment in time. Ehrlacher under a world of pressure. That little squabble has now gapped a little bit between himself and teammate Santiago Urrutia. Lights are ablaze on the number 11. Marco Butti in absolutely no mood for waiting around at these early phases of the race. Butti carrying no compensation weight, Ehrlacher carrying 30 kilos, so the car is light for Marco Butti. Last time round, then Esteban Guerrieri dropped a couple of tenths of a second. Montenegro dropped a couple of tenths of a second. That's bringing him into the clutches of the cars behind. So Montenegro not feeling entirely comfortable in that 3rd position so far. Aurelian Koch not quite close enough to launch an attack. So there is a little bit of breathing space for Nacho as things stand. But the pace starting to fade early doors in this 14-lap race for the Argentinian driver. Esteban Guerrieri also having similar strife down there in 7th position. He's got Santiago Urrutia almost painting himself to the rear of Guerrieri's machine. 10 laps still to go in this one. We can extend by 2 should we have a safety car intervention. Let's hope we don't get to that one. Plenty of racing. There's Montenegro. Now goes an out of shape Aurelian Koch through the chicane. Spectacular place to watch a TCR car bouncing over the curbs there, it has to be said. And Dusan Borkovic also doing a very nice job. Here's the Serbian up there in 11th position, trailing teammate Marco Butti. Borkovic, fair to say, been a bit of a nightmare weekend so far. Found himself in the barriers and trouble in the marshals probably one too many times over the course of practice and qualification. Well, it's coming together very nicely indeed in race number 2 as it reacquaints himself with the TCR car. It's been 8 months since Dusan Borkovic has done any TCR touring car racing. Same cars, different track positions. This is the Lynk Co Cyan Racing 1-2 at the head of the pack. Marching War still holding firm. 5 laps in the books on lap number 6, and it's 0.6 of a second between himself and teammate Ted Bjork. These two are in a class of 2 in this second race, it has to be said. Nacho Montenegro having started from pole position, suboptimal start away from the line, and then the pace just isn't there for the Argentine driver. He is dropping back now to the tune of 1.7 seconds from these two at the head of the pack, and I dare say we've just seen 2 people from Lynk Co locked in conversation, because that decision about who should take the race lead may well be close to being made. Ted Bjork, one of our championship challengers, although he is a little bit further detached, 30 points for a race win would go a long way to help in his championship charge. And by the way, while we were looking at that one, we didn't see it, but Ted Bjork is our new race leader. There we go, the Swedish driver Ted Bjork takes over that race lead from Marching War. We suspected this would be the case. Bjork significantly more points in the back pocket at this stage in the standings than teammate Mar. And Ted, possibly with a little bit of assistance from the team, has been deemed our new race leader. Norbert Miklis, buy this man some good luck, will somebody. Norbert's got an issue on the 105. He's still going a fair lick of pace, but that car is hobbled and in strife. Pulls off to the side of the road, does Miklis, to allow a few drivers through. Dusan Borkovic, unfortunately, getting caught up in that one. Norby elects to miss the chicane. Marco Butti almost rejoins alongside Jan Ehrlacher, and that's given Dusan Borkovic an opportunity. Dusan, never a man to be given 2 opportunities in a row. Only a few more metres separate Ted Bjork from victory then here in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, round number 10 at the halfway mark of the season. It is a Lynk Co Cyan Racing benefit, and that man Ted Bjork takes the victory from teammate Marching War. Nacho Montenegro rounds out the podium finishers. Incredible stuff at the front of the field. Ehrlacher and Bjork comes home a slightly bored 4th position, I'm sure, having had very little racing to do. Mikel Azcona classified in 5th position, just ahead of Esteban Gurrieri. Santiago Urrutia held firm to the checkered flag from teammate Jan Ehrlacher. Ehrlacher finishing in 8th position. Confirmation then of our race 2 finishing order. Ted Bjork opening the scoring for 2025 in Mexico City, and again in Portugal ahead of the summer break.
And I have to say thank you for the team, because it was like you said, the strategy was there. We had the pace in our cars and we were just flying, and we really like it here. But so big thank you to Ma for the last race. Big congratulations to the others. But I don't know if you saw it, but when I took a lapped car, I almost crashed. He was so close. But I was so scared. This is the first time I got really scared. Yeah. So, but I'm really happy to be standing.
And how nice is it? You've got your family here. They're all here, aren't they? To be celebrating this win here in Vila Real.
I'm so happy for that. I'm so happy that they are here. Even if it's super hot for them as well, but they get to see my work, and you know, I'm getting older, so it's really nice for them to see the work.
With the Portugal weekend in the books, Jan Ehrlacher leads the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour driver standings by a comfortable 27 points over Esteban Gurrieri, heading into the summer break. The Frenchman looking in perilous form as we sail past the halfway mark of the season. Santiago Urrutia, 3rd in the championship standings, a further 35 in arrears. A successful weekend for all concerned, and confirmation then that Vila Real will stay on the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour calendar for a further 3 racing seasons, announced on site ahead of the racing festivities and celebrated alongside our race winners on the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour podium. A commanding victory for Ted Bjork and reigniting the championship charge at the head of the World Tour standings.
Let's party!
That's all from Vila Real. We'll see you again on the weekend of the 11th to the 13th of September as we visit the mighty Bend in Australia. Thank you for watching. Until next time, goodbye.